Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Arcane Assist. I'm Tim, joined this week by Evan. How's it going, Evan?
Hello, I'm doing quite well.
At one point, we recently talked about why we got into the habit of the whole, back and forth, how are you doing? I think I blame, not blame, or possibly credit John with that particular distinctive opening.
It's just why.
Totally
Why do we do that?
disrupts the flow. It's not good. If you're starting a battle report recording channel for any games,
do that.
that's not the approach.
It's not the plan.
This week, I'm playing MENOTH, and Evan is playing some Scorn.
That's not true at all.
That was true last week, but it's not true this week. You're playing
You lied
Gators,
to
right?
them. I'm playing Gators,
This is,
and they already knew that
You guys are.
by clicking on the video.
This is going to be a good video.
Oh
You wait.
my
The
God.
game is actually spectacular, but it was also exhausting. Evan won the die roll to go first. What'd you bring? Want to talk to us about your list?
Yeah, I brought Barnabas2 with a battle group of a
Is he just a Lord of
Blackhide.
Blood?
He is a Lord of Blood.
Ugh, okay.
That's it.
Just brought multiple pots of blood.
Bull Snapper, Blackhide Wrastler, and 2 Boneswarms. Boneswarms are pretty bloody. Wrong Eye and Snapjaw, the daring duo,
BFFs.
BFFs, friends for life.
Yep.
We got a Bog Trog Misspeaker, a Swamp Gobber Chef, Kwaak and Gub, a Boil Master and Spirit Cauldron ×2, and then a lot of zombies. We got 2 units of the Gatorman, Bokor, and Bog Trog Shamblers, and then some Croak Raiders.
I, for my part, am playing MENOTH. We've had a lot of requests to play the new MENOTH, featuring Severia Zero, Judicator, Exemplar introduction changes, a lot of those really sort of powerful elements that have put MENOTH back in the map. Big thanks to Jason. These are his MENOTH that I'm playing with, so credit him with the really neat color-shifting paint job.
Mm-hmm.
And the really sweet green and blue, which I think is maybe one of my favorite paint schemes. I'm playing High Reclaimer in the Exemplar introduction. The choice there is because you can take Severia Zero, who's a free choice in the list, a Judicator in High Reclaimer's battle group, a Dervish in Severius' battle group, and a minimum unit of Choir, all of which don't count toward free points because they're not Exemplar models. And you can fit all of those things in and then also get 60 points of Exemplars if you have 30 or more Jack points. High Reclaimer has 32 Jack points. So that was the genesis of this particular list. So it's a Judicator with High Reclaimer, with Severia Zero, and Severia Zero has a Dervish, which is kind of a budget choice for his battle group, but I've actually ended up getting a lot of work out of the Dervish and really enjoying it. He has Road to War. It's remarkably easy to trigger Road to War when you've got the gun platform that is the Judicator in the list, so it's been appealing for me. And then I'm playing kind of a slow High Reclaimer list. There are elements of this that I really like and elements that I don't. One of the things that I really like about it is Incinerators and Bastions, of which I have a max unit of both, are excellent targets for the feat. You get a lot of value out of returning those models, and they punish things for approaching them and attempting to do melee damage to them. The Incinerator UA really levels that unit up in an incredible way, gives you access to a little bit of remove from play, a little bit of continuous effect, and a really kind of sturdy anchor piece that can project a lot of their presence on the board with the defensive action feat. And then on the approach being that business over fanciness, I've got 2 units of Knight Exemplars, both with their unit attachments. So that's just, let's bring another 12 odd weapon masters to this fight, 14 if you include the officers. And they've got a little bit of soft infantry clearing in the feat. And then I can kind of make choices depending on how the matchup is going and how the game's going as to where the...
You just mean in the fact that the officer exists and gives them overtake and cleave, right?
Yeah, but you can make choices about, I really need infantry clearing in this matchup, so they're the ones who get Hand of Fate, because then they can more reliably do their cleave overtake thing.
Okay.
So they're kind of present for that reason. And you can deploy them opposite infantry with that in mind. I'm not sold 100% on this list, but I promised myself I'm going to play 10 games of it and try it out before establishing it one way or the other as a competitive pairing.
Sounds good.
So without further ado, let's jump into the game. So first turn, what are you thinking about this table, Evan? I got to pick side, and let me tell you, I am glad I got to pick side.
Yeah. So there's a lot of rough terrain on this table. The 2 large kind of patchy circles that are on the left-hand side here where I am, those are both rubble. Then there's a forest below that, and then there's just across the middle of the table a large obstruction and a wall in the lower zone. Then closer to Tim's side, there's a big old forest, another wall, and another obstruction. So a lot of rough terrain towards my side of the table. Thankfully, I have Onslaught, so I can mitigate a lot of it just by charging through it and just being like, I can always see the Judicator. I always have something that will allow me to get Pathfinder through this, even if I have to go at some awkward angles.
I should mention, you said before you're in the Blindwater congregation theme, right?
Yeah.
But you've forewent any of the Blindwater Gators. So you don't have any of the guys who have the 8 boxes or anything like that. And you're mostly in this theme for access to like Shamblers.
Yes.
Just have a whole bunch of chaff-like bodies.
A lot of Shamblers. The pots can help make more Shamblers. They make great feat targets, so I can just gobble them all up. Because most of the work getting done in this theme is going to be from Barnabas and his Boneswarms. And I also really want Wrong Eye and Snapjaw up there because they make the survivability of this list way better. Now, something I have been having a little bit of trouble with when making this list is I know I'm only going to get 2 free solos because I am taking Wrong Eye and Snapjaw, and they don't count towards free points. So there's this weird issue I've always been having where I want a Bog-Trog Mist-Speaker for magic weapons and eyeless sight, Kwaak and Gub for enliven and the heal and the great utility they bring, and a Gatorman Witch Doctor for Death Ride and Ghostly. But I can only get 2 of those ever, or else the points don't really work out for me. So in this game, I've chosen to go with the Mist Speaker and Kwaak and Gub. I mean, I brought them in, and that's what I had. Thankfully, I mean, I can still get great utility out of them. I'd love to have a Witch Doctor for that big obstruction in the middle so that Barnabas could charge through it, but I'll take what I can get. Enliven's really good on Boneswarms and Snapjaw, really. And the utility he brings with the sprays against a lot of infantry like Tim has is always pretty great. And then Tim also has some great models that are targets for influence on the Bog-Trog Mist-Speaker. Because they're all weapon masters, so they're pretty good at killing each other, turns out.
Yeah, very good at killing each other. Interesting. Sorry, is Barnabas undead?
Barnabas is not undead, but a lot of the list is.
Okay. I was thinking if it's a point of threat range on your caster, I feel like you made the wrong choice.
No, it's not a point of threat range on Barnabas himself, but he does really like the Ghostly.
He's just mostly dead? Is that what's going on
He's
here?
only mostly dead.
Right.
Correct.
Yes. All right. So I deployed, again, terrain really indicates a lot of my deployment process. I've got High Reclaimer and Severius both quite centrally deployed because they're sort of the nodes around which this list operates. Place the Judicator within 6 inches of High Reclaimer. No surprises what's going to happen there. And I've got the Judicator in a spot where it can get to a zone that it's going to score eventually. But it's also in a position where it can threaten most of the board. It's kind of got the most open side of the board in front of it.
I'm running up these Croaks to threaten the various pieces that Tim has opposite to me here. The Bastions don't like getting shot. The Knights Exemplar don't like getting shot. And especially because the Bastions often like to bunch up. They don't want to be oiled and stuff. And then I'm moving the pot up, basically to be in corpse collection range of all of the Croaks that move on up. Just making sure that it can get them when it needs to. And then the Shamblers run up behind just to kind of be that second line that's going to be reinforced by the pot as it gives corpses to the Shamblers throughout the game.
And you've done a pretty impressive job, generating some preemptive corpses already for both those units.
Yeah, I gave 3 to the bottom unit and 1 to the top unit, so they're going to get some more bodies in the next turn, regardless of whether or not Croaks die. And these guys are just going to go up the bottom, basically try to just feed dudes into that zone, just, contest it ad nauseum. And then rushing up the middle with the Battlegroup. Thankfully, Boneswarms have Pathfinder, so I don't have to worry about that too much, and Onslaught provides the Pathfinder for things like Snapjaw and Barnabas himself. Boneswarm just going to run on up, moving some of those rebel scatter terrains out.
They're gravestones, which I think is one of my favorite parts about this particular
Yes.
set. The rebel markers are little like lines of gravestones.
Yeah.
This is the spooky church or graveyard, I guess more.
Yeah, it's a graveyard. The Wrastler is just going to run up. It's going to be fairly conservative this game for a heavy. It's going to hang back. It's just going to give out rage to the pieces that need it for armor cracking, and it's going to be a late game heavy. It's not going to go in early at all. It's just going to hang back, wait till something happens to wander into its threat range, and then kill that when it gets there. Wrong Eye goes in after Snapjaw, just doing some merge at this point. Nothing spectacular, making sure he doesn't die.
You don't need to Starcrust yet because nothing's likely to come into range.
Correct. Kwaak and Gub is actually going to walk up and put Enliven on a Boneswarm and Snapjaw. Enliven's great with this guy because since it's range command and he's command 7, he can throw it out from quite a distance. And he can throw it out twice because he has a rule called Share the Load. So whenever he makes a magic attack or special action, he can make another magic attack or special action.
I think Kwaak and Gobber are they.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just, I don't know. Respect that kind of thing. Just, I mean, that's just what I'm saying. That's all.
It's your turn.
Okay. Yeah, so I've got a couple of problems here. One of them is that Bastions hate guns, and even Croaks are kind of dangerous guns for Bastions. So I'm playing the Bastion unit pretty conservatively. I ran one guy, his max distance up, but he has cover. So at 15, 16, he's pretty tough, likely to be okay, or at least to be able to spread enough damage. And I played the rest of the Bastions pretty far back, including an anchor guy like behind the building. Choir activates, just positioning so that they can battle both jacks. I'm not going to do anything relevant with the Dervish this turn, but I am going to try to take some damage with the Judicator. I'm just seeing where I can line up a spray. I'm going to kill a couple of Croaks. I'm in a weird situation because every model I kill, I'm giving Evan corpses, so I'm not really doing a ton of meaningful attrition work. But I feel like if I can move the Judicator up without it necessarily being threatened by anything, and I can kind of downgrade the quality of some of the chaff that's in his list, eventually they're going to end up being Barnabas feat targets, but I've got to start chipping away at that problem now. So Hand of Fate plus the Reliquary effect, roll 2 extra dice and drop lowest. First spray clears out the 2 guys that it hit. Second one clears out the 1 guy that it hits. Got rid of 3 Croaks. 3 corpses for his pot there. And then we're checking where range 14 puts me. I'm not going to get to kill anything super important, but I'm hoping maybe I get a lucky scatter, maybe with a secondary blast, going somewhere kind of exciting. The first one actually just misses Croak Raider and scatters an inch to the 3, so just goes off a little bit. And then the secondary blast from there, which, interesting note, secondary blasts reorient. You move the blast template according to the first, and then you turn it so that the 4 points directly back toward the Judicator. Just something a lot of people don't think about or necessarily know. Not that it's super important, you just got to kind of be consistent with it. I kill that guy with the blast, then I shoot the second rocket. This one hits quite solidly. And I end up clipping the Boneswarm with blast. And I didn't maybe think about this right away, but Enliven triggers on a model being damaged. So I actually end up triggering Enliven on the Boneswarm. So I hit the Boneswarm twice. I boost blast damage both times because I've got the focus to spare. I do a ton of damage, like dice -5. I end up doing, I think, 13 points, like something like that on the 2 boosted blasts.
Yeah, it's not feeling so good, although its Spirit's the only thing that's out.
Yeah. I definitely soften it up quite a bit. But not really thinking kind of really prudently about this. I've carefully kept my Judicator out of threat range of everything, and then Evan advances with Enliven so that he now threatens the Judicator.
Yarp.
Really, really smart, really clever. One of the reasons that Enliven is kind of... it's a really, really powerful spell if you know how to use it well. A lot of people think about its uses defensively, but its offensive uses, I think, are often even more powerful.
Especially against Colossals.
Yeah.
Because you can... If you attack me with, if you center on me and attack me with one side, I can Enliven into that side.
Yep.
And then now I'm both further up to threaten you, and you can't attack me with the other side.
Yeah, it's one of those weird ones, especially if you charge an Enlivened piece. Always, make sure that, your opponent asks, which arm are you attacking me with as the charge attack, and then you enliven into that side. You're not leaving their melee range, so you don't take a free strike, but you deny them an initial.
Mm-hmm.
Very powerful. Or enlivening into crippled systems. That's pretty tech.
Yeah. If they have one arm crippled and the other one's not, and then just going into that one.
So I kind of run the knights up. I sort of spread them out a little bit. Again, keeping a couple of anchor pieces back. Evan's list has a lot of RFP, but he's got some pieces that don't. So I want to make sure that I keep viable feat targets available in my units.
Yeah. The Croaks kind of got annihilated here, but a lot of those corpses went to, well, I think all of them except for 2, and then those 2 other corpses went to just other models, went to the red fire pot. So that's going to be able to give those out, likely to the Boneswarm that's going in on the Judicator.
And because you dumped a bunch of corpses into Shambler units, you get to place Shamblers on top of 2, which is an unusual thing, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for Alexia maybe, but not for not when you make your own corpses.
Yeah. BYOC.
Yeah, BYOC.
Where you going?
I like that.
Going to get the corpses?
So, what do we want to do this turn? We want to kill the 2 Knights Exemplar that are in front of the Judicator screening it. We have 3 3 Croaks available to just fire dart them out of the way, and then we can do some damage with the Boneswarm. Now, I'm obviously not expecting the singular Boneswarm in order to go and kill the Judicator, but I'm hoping he cripples a system or 2, maybe takes out a side, because he's only dice -1, and he gets a charge attack and 2 other full attacks, and I'm going to Puppet Master him, so if a damage roll doesn't go quite well, I can do that, or if I happen to dubs an attack, I can re-roll it, stuff like that. So I'm going to put some significant damage in, soften it up for later, and then maybe even later the other Boneswarm can go in and deal with it. Although I have maybe a different plan for it at the moment. So here are the Croaks going in to start attacking these errants. I, for the most part, hit and kill. This battle-driven giving extra armor causes me a little bit of trouble for the second one, but I end up taking him out anyway. Gravis gets the souls. So with that out of the way, we can start moving up. Now, the Spirit is crippled on that Boneswarm, and I'm going to move up fairly aggressively with Barnabas. So Barnabas is going to put up Execration of Blackest Night. He already upkept Onslaught. He's going to heal that Boneswarm, and he's going to rage that Boneswarm. He's already within 6 inches, so he can charge afterwards and just be happy in the middle of the table behind an obstruction, providing Execration to basically the entire center of the table.
Execration's a crazy strong spell, and especially if you're in the middle of the zone in the pit, you're dominating the board presence element of the game.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of Barnabas' specialty. He's nigh unkillable, and he can him existing makes it harder for you to hit. Yeah. This top unit of Shamblers is going to move fairly aggressively. I just want to get more bodies, so I'm going to try to attack that one knight, move up so I can collect his corpse and be fairly safe in the rubble. No guns are really going to be able to get me, because if Tim wants to commit a Judicator to it, I'm fine with that, and I'm going to have a decent number of bodies in the way, so it's going to be quite hard to charge him as well.
Yeah, just screening those guys. They end up being really tough to kill, pun intended, because they just have so many bodies and like personal tough, personal multiple boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
2 units of Alexia in the Risen.
2 units of Alexia in the Risen. Better than 1.
Less points? Same points?
They're the exact same cost. They're 10 points, and Alexia's 10 points. There's some weird differences, like they don't have a hand cannon, but they have a magic ability that stationary is a thing.
It's pretty cool.
And
you don't craft thralls. Obviously, you're not a solo manufacturing factory.
That is very true. Unfortunately, you do not craft bog trog warriors.
That'd be weird.
That'd be
Trog wearing like little shoulder pads.
Yeah, can we do that? Riot Quest Mini bog trog warrior. Get on it, Hungerford.
Bog Thrall warrior.
Bog Thrall warrior. Even better. Oh my god, I love it. So good. So here's Barney doing these things. He's going to just get up on the middle of it.
Rawr, I'm
Execrations
a Barnabas.
up. Make things harder for Tim. So the bug tracker that charged an Exemplar earlier did not kill it or hit it, but they already had battle driven, so it doesn't matter. But Barnabas is here now, in your face, with Swarm and Execration.
Yeah. You were not in a position to get Hunter's Mark out.
Yeah. No, I couldn't get Hunter's Mark out on anything relevant, so I didn't. Unfortunately, can't make that Boneswarm charge for free. Pot's going to move up, deliver some corpses, give out Puppet Master. So now that Boneswarm is a whopping POW Strength 18, which is pretty great for a 7-point light.
Did you think about the Gator UA, the caster attachment? What's his name?
The Soul Slave. Yeah, that's another one that's really hard to get into this list because, again, you only get 2 free solos.
Sure.
And that one's a 5-point solo.
Right.
I mean, I could sub out the Swamp Gobber Chef for him, which I think I forgot to mention I have because I had 1 point. I threw in a Gobber Chef. So I can take one of those 4-point solos out for him. It's really neat for a fully boosted Blood Rain, and he can upkeep Onslaught nicely.
And he could put out Hunter's Mark so that Barnabas could benefit from it?
He's often behind Barnabas, though.
Yeah.
Is what I've found with him in past. But he's not a bad addition to the list.
As we talk about the interesting notions of what Evan could do with this list, he blows up nearly half a Judicator, taking out an arm.
Yep.
Yay.
Didn't even Puppet Master. Just roll above average. It's fine.
He's actually, the Boneswarms hit crazy hard. A lot of people don't give them appropriate credit, but Boneswarms are base POW strength 13? 13. They get 3 corpses, taking them to 16, and then rage taking them to 19? No, base POW 12, right?
Base POW, sorry, yes, 12.
Yeah, base POW 12 gets to 18.
Uh-huh.
So dice -1 after all that's said and done. And, Fury 3, so they charge and then buy a couple of attacks. Like, that is a crazy amount of value for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
This Boneswarm here just casts Swarm and charge something, I think.
Yes, he casts Swarm and charges at Incinerator. So then we've made this little fort between the obstruction and the forest where Snapjaw and the Boneswarm are completely blocking line of sight through that alley, and Wrong Eye's right up behind them with the spell Starcrossed
and Submerge.
So he's not getting shot by guns, and he's providing crazy defense to things on top of Execration of Blackest Night with the addition of Swarm and the attacking over the wall bonus from trying to hit Snapjaw over the wall. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, keep up, folks at home. There's a lot of defensive buffs going. Like, we've got Swarm, -2 for living models. We've got Signs of Importance. 1 additional die drop the highest. We've got Execration of Blackest Night, -2 to attack rolls. We've got the attacking over an obstacle penalty, -2 to attack rolls. Then on the other side, we've got Eye of MENOTH, +1 to attack and damage rolls. And we've got Hand of Fate, roll an additional die, drop the lowest. It's there's going to be some math. It's going to get weird.
Yup, that's one way to put it. So I decided to do a run/charge here. Now I was fairly heavily debating just keeping my Bokor back, keeping him behind the forest, and just staying there, popping out zombies all game from behind a forest.
Pretending to be a
Hellmouth, yes, because I can do that with the pot there. And that's a fairly consistent play that I can do, and just be safe doing that. But that means that these Knights Exemplar and these Incinerators get to take a lot of this side of the table. Mm-hmm. So I decide, okay, I'll go kill a couple, get some corpses from it, and then just have a ton of corpses. At the end of this turn, I'm going to have 5 corpses. And I'll have a ton of Bog Trogs between me and anything that can threaten me. So Tim's going to have to do a lot of work if he wants to get anywhere close to killing this this unit attachment. And if he's doing that, he's probably not killing my objective. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable about that.
Yeah, you can test that zone with a ton of bodies. Like just a huge number.
Yeah. And here we go into Tim's turn.
Yeah. So I've got a kind of decision point here. There's a lot of things that I want to do on this turn, and I'm looking at like Evan starts off the turn by being like, you can try to kill Barnabas. And I'm like, I think that's a really bad plan. And it turns out it is a really bad plan. I don't have, assuming that I move everything, the Boneswarm dies from something else, and I don't block the Judicator's charge. If the Judicator were to charge right now, it would not reach Barnabas and also be across a wall. So that's just like 100% not happening. And I think it's a trap in the Barnabas lists to dedicate a lot of energy to try to kill Barnabas even when he looks like he's really close. Because Execration is just, it's worth so much attrition that you don't even really think about. It's a little bit like Starcrossed and Calandra. It just kind of has that effect on a game.
And
so,
I also have Starcrossed.
You incidentally also have Starcrossed up. So it's there's a lot of negative attrition value going on there. So the first thing I do is I check to see that I'm out of 10 inches right now. So if the Judicator doesn't move at all, I'm not suffering a -2. So High Reclaimer upkeeps Hand of Fate, allocates a couple to the Judicator. Severius allocates a couple to the Dervish, and the Judicator aims. Pardon me, doesn't get to aim because he's engaged in melee, but he decides to take shots. First thing he does is shoot a rocket at the pot, the red pot that collected a whole bunch of corpses the previous turn. Secondary blast, scatters over, clips a couple of Barnabas's little Boneswarm friends, and then the direct hit on the pot. I choose to boost damage here, just not wanting to risk it. It's dice down 1, and I kill it. Blow it up. Do some damage to its Gator Handler friend and to a Shambler in front. I think the Gator Handler survives. And he's on 1 box or something like that. So, the sort of decision to take shots with the Judicator here was a weird one because I just want to dig deeper than what Evan's given me here, and I think I can kill the Boneswarm just using my sprays, even though I have one of my arms crippled. So, first rocket took out the pot. That was the good rocket. Now we're doing the broken one. I'm just firing it out here, scattering, trying to use that sort of POW 10, functionally high impact blast. It scatters back, clips another one of Barnabas' Boneswarms, kills it, even through the 1 less die, and then scatters back again and hits nothing.
Scatters to exactly where you originally shot it.
Yeah, hyper accurate. First blast came forward, second one went back. Unfortunately, I shot it originally in an area that had nobody in it. So, sprays. We take the spray shots, and first spray we boost damage on, and we blow up the Boneswarm. Means the left arc spray doesn't actually have any targets, but that's fine. It's great. Judicator did exactly what I was hoping it would do. It removed the Boneswarm that was a problem. It stayed generally like back and out of threat, ready to come in and commit a little bit later, and tried to get me another good turn of shooting. I don't know. It's just such a flexible artillery piece. I really dig it.
Yeah, Judicators are terrifying.
So, now that I've dealt with one of the pots, I'm sort of just trying to pick away at Evan's support. Kind of the really damaging pieces in his list are kind of protected and kept alive and relevant by a lot of kind of random chaff. So I'm just trying to sort of scrape away at that and do more work against those things than I sort of have any business doing this turn. See Evan flashing a laser. That's a classy choice. Classy choice. Here on Arcane Assist, Disco is well and alive. So I've got a kind of a weird decision to make because under Execration of Blackest Night and Severius 0, Bastions drop down from mat 7 down to mat 5 up to mat 6. Which doesn't sound so bad when you're attacking something that's maybe defense 14 across a wall. But now they're under Signs Importance, so now I need Signs Importance 8s. Pardon me, Starcrossed.
That's Signs Importance wouldn't be too bad for you, but Starcrossed is much worse.
So I charge 1 Bastion in, but most of the Bastions go the other direction, trying to kill some Croaks. Mostly I'm willing to accept that these guys are going to hit nothing and are just sort of positioning to buy a little bit of space, screen for the Judicator, and be available for defensive strikes while keeping an anchor guy really, really far back. So I'm hoping that I hit with any of them, but I'm willing to miss with all of them. So first guy charging a Croak misses, second guy charging a Croak hits through Execration.
Yep.
Yeah, he rolled an 8 and he's Mat 5. Sorry, Mat 6, because he is still in Eye of MENOTH range. And the other guy charged Snapjaw missed. Snapjaw's right next to a model who has the Swarm rule. That's the Bastion Seneschal, just running up, being another Tactician bubble, being another potential defensive strike. Severius is moving up and just sort of increasing the amount that Eye of MENOTH is affecting. Unit Incinerators are going to go next. They're going to skirt the edge of that wall but not go over it because they do not have Relentless Charge or Onslaught or Pathfinder. They're charging and getting a defensive action mini feat, so they're going to Repo 5 and end the turn in Shield Wall. These guys are all Mat 8, so would it surprise you to learn that they need 9s to hit?
They're more like Mat 4.
More like Mat 4. That's about right. It is worth noting that High Reclaimer sort of scooched over to the other side of that building, towed the edge of the kill box, and cycled Hand of Fate to these folks. So they're getting to roll 4 dice and dropping both the highest and the lowest.
Which is just weird.
Yeah, it's as I say, this is going to be a game with a lot of math, because Mat 7 base goes to 8, Swarm drops down to 6, Execration of Blackest Night drops it down to 4. 4 dice, drop the highest, drop the lowest, and we're left with needing to hit defense 13. So the second charge attack actually hits. Lights this guy on fire, power strength 12. I do get the Signs of Importance effect on the damage roll, and does a nice chunk.
Yeah.
Takes out, I think, mind, maybe? Or was it body?
Yes, you took out the body on this particular Boneswarm.
Yep.
You did not a whole lot to Snapjaw, though.
Yeah, Snapjaw, I think, got missed twice, hit once, and took very, very little.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 points
Very
total.
minimal damage.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, again, there's a lot of stacking defensive debuffs that Evan has here, and I'm hoping that because these guys mini-feeded this turn and charged, the fact that they didn't get a ton of damage in, they're still going to buy a lot of board space. They're still going to kind of be really present. I'm hoping to do a lot of work on this flank and then kind of bog down his army in the center, sort of use the pit against him, as it were. It's rare that MENOTH get to try an enveloping approach. But a lot of the things Barnabas has care very much about being central, so kind of punishing him for that element of his list is, I guess, maybe the strategy I'm trying to take.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So the unit of Knights Exemplar are charging over here. They have not to many feet. The officer goes first. She hits and kills a guy. She's in 10 inches of Severius 0, as is his Dervish, so it gets to Road to War move. Knight here gets to cleave and overtake, sort of clearing the path for that Dervish. This Knight is Mat 7 and rolled a 3, so he does kill and hit, but he's not in room to overtake, cleave anyone, so he just sort of backs up a little bit. And then the Dervish goes in. Wee Dervish. Charges, single attack, kills this guy, sidesteps 2 inches into the boss man. Second initial, he hits. And because of battle, because the choir did battle before anything else, he's power strength, 15?
Mm-hmm.
So dice -1. Does a truckload of damage to you. You fail the tough check. We kill the Gator leader model, and he spins around, and he buys 3 attacks on 3 more boggy friends and kills them all.
So that Dervish came out of frickin' nowhere. I was not expecting him to get that far, and I was especially not expecting the Gatorman Bokor to die this turn.
Yeah, right. Like, so the Dervish Road to War play, I mean, you have to kind of set it up a little bit, but when you do, I think it's really cool. That Dervish is a little out of the game right now because he's obviously not going to power up next turn, and it's going to take him a turn or 2 to be sort of super relevant again. But his job is to eventually score that zone, and I feel like doing the work he did on this flank was huge. We're doing a similar kind of thing, except this unit of Knights mini feats to do the clearing that they were planning to do. We get a couple of cleave overtake attacks that clear up not just Shamblers, but a couple of Croaks as well. They've made themselves just enough room and a little lane for Gravis to charge. Gravis received Pathfinder from the objective this turn. He impact attacks a Shambler, killing it, which is key because I want to make sure that there's as few targets for Evan to transfer damage to as possible for when the Bokor gets hit. So he's a cavalry model, charges, and he's POW Strength 11 Weapon Master. Doesn't do a ton of damage. I think it's enough that Evan can transfer off one of it and still live.
Yep.
Hits and kills. Tough check. He does not tough.
So now that both of my zombie generating machines are gone, I'm not particularly happy about that, honestly.
I'm super happy about it. I maybe didn't get a ton of work done to the Boneswarm and to Snapjaw up the middle. And I'm still staring down a nearly invincible Barnabas, but both of your flanks are collapsing. And that seems key right now.
Fire goes out on Snapjaw, doesn't go out on the Boneswarm, but the Boneswarm does not take any damage, thankfully. We upkeep Onslaught just because there's some angles I think it's still going to be useful. And we start to go on this. So, first thing I'm going to do, Bogtrog's going to shuffle over a little and influence the Incinerator Officer to stab another Incinerator in the back, which Incinerators are really good at killing other Incinerators when they don't get the shield wall benefit, as it turns out.
Incidentally, Incinerators also have Takedown.
Yeah.
So you RFP him and he cannot be feeded back by High Reclaimer.
Yep.
I do not get a soul. It's bad news bears.
Incinerator is real good at killing Incinerators.
Bogtrog Misspeaker is punching above his class right now.
That's one way to put it. So pretty good, I think, for that solo there. Up next, what are we going to do? Well, I want the Boneswarm that's been hit by some Incinerators to get healed. I want him to get Rage so he can kill some Incinerators. We're going to do a little bit of work with some zombies while we can. And then they're not actually going to do any work there. Well, actually, they killed the knight. Never mind. They did a thing.
CMA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's not bad. And then, we're just going to keep on keeping on. Croaks are going to try to go do some stuff. Walks on up. They're going to get gang against Knight. And then the other one's going to try to just make a ranged attack.
Yeah, so the gang on the Croaks takes them from 5-8 to 7-10.
Not great, but better than nothing. I do not end up killing that particular knight, thanks to Battle Driven. The ranged attack misses, so there's still those knights. 3 frogs cannot kill 2 knights, as it turns.
3 frogs cannot kill 2 knights.
So, what's next? Barnabas is thinking about charging those 2 bastions. If Tim chooses not to Sanguine Bond, I can just eat him. And if Tim chooses to Sanguine Bond, I'm probably going to hit way higher than their armor, so that entire unit's just going to be taking a ton of damage.
Key notes here. Barnabas personally RFPs in melee. He collects corpses, which is like a huge bonus to his it's just strength for him, right? Not armor.
Yep. So he gets strength from it, and in the, I believe, maintenance phase, he can create his little bone shakers that give him both a sack pawn target and a dark shroud piece.
I killed all of them.
Yes, they all died to the Judicator.
Yeah, and you can only make them in the maintenance phase, right? You can't make them with the... Can you make them with the feet?
I cannot make them with the feet, but I can gain corpses with the feet.
And then with your corpses next turn, you can return them.
Exactly.
And they can test, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really cool being a sort of a relativistic statement.
Yeah. So, some more zombies move up. They make some attacks. They don't do a whole lot, but they're going to be feet targets, so that's fine. If they could kill something before they got killed themselves by their benevolent god, then, whatever. But instead, they will be fuel for Barney to go murder stuff. So, thinking about the order I want to do this in because I know the Bastions are going to get defensive strikes. I'm just going to go with Barney first. He's going to Execration. He's going to Swarm. And he's going to give Rage to the Boneswarm. Or Snapjaw? Snapjaw. He's going to get Rage to Snapjaw. And then he's going to Feat. He's going to kill a bunch of zombies, the Gobber Chef, the leftover Boil Master, and something else maybe? I forget. I think that's it. Basically, grand total of, we're going to do 8 models. So we're going to go from 0 back to 7, and we're going to heal the Boneswarm for D3 so that we don't have to pay our Fury to do that, and it gets to be fully functional. So we heal its body back. Great. It's going to actually be able to maybe kill some Incinerators now. And we can roll with that. I start to move another model, and I'm like, wait a second, Barnabas actually has to do his charge thing, so...
Might as well have a whole activation.
Hold on. Let's wait a second. Let's do the thing. Charge. Bastions do their defensive strikes. They don't do a whole lot, to say the least. I believe both of them miss.
Yep. Pretty likely that they miss. Like, you don't have Signs of Importance up yet, but...
One needs a 9, one needs an 11.
Yeah, they're attacking over a wall. You've got Swarm, so they've got -2 to hit. You've got Execration, they've got a further -2 to hit. I mean, even the fact that they are at mat 8, they drop down to 4.
Mm-hmm. So we do that.
Yeah, Barnabas's base stat line of 13 is pretty deceptive.
Yeah, 13, 18, I believe it is. But that's more like 17, 18. Or 15, 20. Whatever happens to be necessary in that state. Most of your models ignore spiny growth.
Key feature here, you do a truckload of damage with the charge attack. I have, I think, 15 damage to spread out.
Mm-hmm.
I spread 5 to a Bastion, 5 to the Bastion you charged, and 5 to the other 2 Bastions. That kills both of those Bastions, giving souls to Gravis. But they don't die from your attack, which means you neither get corpses, nor do you RFP them.
Yeah, and then I'm going to boost a Rebuke at the rest of the Bastions, just because I have the Fury, don't want to be camping 6. Even though there's a Judicator in charge range, I don't want to be camping 6. So I Rebuke the unit of Bastion successfully and camp 3.
Yeah, that Rebuke is really strong. I have Dispel on Gravis's melee attack.
But I'm going to engage him so that he is reluctant to leave.
Also, he has to be within 9 inches of the Bastions. He is not.
Oh yeah, he can't charge his friends, so no. He's not doing that anytime soon. This Gator's gonna kind of clamp onto his leg and do not a whole lot of damage, just 3 damage.
Yeah, underwhelmed a little bit. Although, like the Execration makes that Gator look like kind of not hugely relevant contesting piece, but he's effectively 15-14 right now.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you think about spiny growthing him?
No, I figured most of the weapons over there are blessed, right? Like Gravis is blessed, and I mean the Exemplar, the Knight's Exemplar.
Gravis is actually blessed, but he does have Dispel, so he would have taken the spiny growth off.
Oh, fair enough.
That's fair.
That and also Knight's Exemplar do not care about armor as a stat, so
they are pretty good at making your stats irrelevant.
So Pot gives corpses to Boneswarm. Boneswarm kills and RFPs 2 Incinerators. Other Wrastler goes and rages Snapjaw. So yeah, earlier Barnabas did rage the Boneswarm and not Snapjaw. Either way, both of them get raged this turn. Wrong Eye is going to pop to the other side of this house, put up Starcrossed again, basically making sure that it can apply to any of the Exemplars that want to charge in on Barney.
Which is all of them.
And then Snapjaw is going to pop out, engage, I believe, 4 of the medium-based models, and kill all of them. Just eat them. Because the ones that are in shield wall, he bites and is dice even.
Yep.
And the ones that are out of shield wall, he tail attacks and is dice +1.
Yep.
And then Yum.
And
Chomp
all
chomp.
of them, he has a sort of snacking like rule where he can heal himself or Wrong Eye, but he's still RFPs.
Yep.
So critically, none of these models grant High Climber souls. None of these models can be feated back. So Evan has a lot of tools in this list to kind of counter the feat, but as you're seeing, like, that's not the whole story.
No. Because you have guns that out-threat me pretty heavily, and anything you touch just dies.
I like to think so.
So yeah, we kill a whole bunch, and we get to submerge at the end of it. So
Yay!
So rebukes on some bastions, and then I'm like, what can I do with Kwaak and Gub this turn? Because Enliven's not great with where Snapjaw is, because he can't really back up and doesn't want to take a Weapon Master Freeze Strike. Let's try Mudfoot. I've literally never cast this spell before, but the combination of Rebuke and Mudfoot is really good. Mudfoot, for those of you who don't know, says that target model/unit loses Pathfinder and treats open terrain as rough terrain. So these bastions can't run, charge, give or receive orders, and have to treat open terrain as rough terrain.
Oh, these bastions are in a bad place.
So they're moving 2 inches next turn.
So you're thinking to yourself, like, well, is that big a deal? Like, okay, one bastion can't get to Barnabas, but the other one's way back there. Why does that matter? But I could feat back 2 bastions right now. And if all 3 bastions could charge Barnabas, that'd be something to have a conversation about. We'd be talking about, do we put Hand of Fate on them? What's the math look like? How well are they going to do? And the answer is never anything, because they're stuck in the mud.
Because even if they come back, they can't get an order, and their boots are pretty muddy.
Mud boots.
So I, while a underutilized spell, think I made pretty good use of that.
Yeah, Mudfoot's cool. And, like, I mean, also just getting the Venom on Sevi, too, I think is...
Yeah, I corrode Sevi there.
I mean, it's not enough damage that it's likely to be kind of the thing that deals with him. But,
right.
Maybe you spike that Venom and all of a sudden that's a problem for me.
The biggest downfall about Mudfoot is that it's only range 6.
Yeah.
So most models you put it on can still reach him.
True, but Bastions
cannot. Judicator charges Barnabas. Oh no!
So, okay, don't think I didn't do the math here. Judicator charges with a broken left arm and misses Barnabas, but goes far enough that he gets into the zone and he kills both of the Croaks who are there. Now, initially I just roll 3 dice for these. It should actually be another die because of Starcrossed. So we re-roll them and they still die.
They still die.
It ends up taking a bot attack, I believe, but he has the focus to spare.
Just putting a beat down to Mark Mudfoot.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like my thought this turn is, okay, kill the objective, clear both zones, score 3. That's my plan right now. So these knights are just kind of walking around. They have battle driven right now, so they're fine in that rough terrain. One of them walked into the back arc of the Bull Snapper because, again, Matt is a pretty big issue for them right now.
Yeah. They don't do.
This is the unit who's already mini-feated too. So a couple of them under execration and miss. So now I'm not really sure. This zone is mostly clear, save for that Bull Snapper. But if I want to kill it, Gravis is dice -3 and needs 7s to hit under execration of Blackest Night, which is not great. He's outside of Starcrossed, but I kind of leave that zone because I'm like, that's weird math. There's some 50-50s there. Let's just ignore it for now and come back to it later. Choir unit activates. They're just kind of repositioning a little bit. High Reclaimer moves over, stays outside the kill box, and he puts Hand of Fate on the Knight unit. Knight unit who are battle-driven on this side, they charge. Or pardon me, they're not battle-driven, which was important. Devin deliberately didn't trigger it, so they have to walk. So this is them all walking. So 2 of them get on the objective, which took a combo strike from the Dervish already. And they do not mini-feat. Sorry, they do mini-feat this turn. And do some damage. but don't kill the objective. No, pardon me. I deliberately chose not to mini feed here, which is probably a mistake. That extra die was the Signs important, or the Hand of Fate, because their mini feed would be another one yet. So they leave the objective alive. At dice down 1, the dervish did a bunch to it. They did a bunch to it. I think at this point it's on 2 or 3 boxes, something like that.
Yeah, it is not looking too good.
Still, I'm running a little low on attacks on that side of the board, so that's a problem. The Seneschal can charge Snapjaw, but the only things that are in the zone right now are that objective and the Bull Snapper. So my goal this turn is to do some attrition work, yes, but hopefully kill the Bull Snapper and that objective. So the Seneschal charges Snapjaw under Signs of Importance, or Starcross, should I say. He does enough damage to take out Mind, I think. Like just a little bit of damage.
Yep, so you cripple his mind.
And I'm looking at Sevi, and I'm thinking maybe I can get an Immolate on the objective. He has to charge to do it, so he charges Snapjaw, turns to face so he can still just see the objective. He's mat 6 on the charge. Under Starcrossed, he misses. He spends 3 to cast Immolate, and then I debate whether or not I should boost it here. Knowing the double ones could happen because of Starcrossed, I end up boosting it. Not an issue. And then I kind of rolled a little below average here, so I ponder it for a second and opt eventually to boost damage to roll the 8 I need. And he gets it exactly. So that's we just redo the math here for a second, but that's exactly enough to kill the objective. So Hero Severius comes in and clears the zone.
That's why he gets promoted.
Yeah, and eventually dies.
Yeah.
Maybe standing in front of alligators is not the line of play. Sorry, that was not a spoiler for this game. That's a spoiler for War Machine's lore, if anyone was unclear. Severius might just face tank that alligator all of next turn. You don't know. So these are Gravis attacks. So Gravis, so the debate here, the thing I was not sure between was, do I run Severius over to tag Gravis with a +1/+1 so that he definitely clears the zone, or do I get greedy and hope he just rolls a string of 7s and then I can do both and have Severius immolate? And I opted for the greedy play and got rewarded for it, so that's why people become bad War Machine players. Yeah, so 2 points and 1 for the objective makes it 3 points, going to top of 4.
Oh boy.
Where's your god now, Barnabas?
It's still me.
Oh, fine.
Please tell me where the other one is so I can kill him.
I'm getting hungry.
So, Barnabas' plan is simple this turn. He's going to charge the objective and kill it. And then something else will kill the Judicator. It'll be fine.
And it'll be fine.
And it'll be fine. And even if it doesn't, it's not like a Judicator can kill Barnabas. Barnabas is immortal. It's fine. So, what else do we need to do this turn? Well, we need to activate Snapjaw before we activate Wrong Eye, because Wrong Eye is going to come over to top zone land with Barney with Starcrossed up to make sure he doesn't die to a bunch of knights. And then the Wrastler is going to come up top zone and also kill a Judicator. Yay. Snapjaw is hopefully going to kill a Bastion, Seneschal, and a Severius and contest a zone. And then that Boneswarm's going to heal a bunch, and then, well, he's going to go kill a thing, heal a bunch, and then get 3 more corpses from the pot. That's the plan.
It's a good plan.
So, step 1.
Cut a hole in the box.
No, don't do that. Don't cut a hole in the box. Just put the box back. Don't be that person. Kill the objective.
Okay, step 1, kill the objective. What's step 2?
Buy another attack. We kill the objective after a couple of attacks. Don't do it. We cast step 2, cast Execration of Blackest Night. The best spell name in the game.
It's long-winded, but it is pretty amazing. I'll give it that.
So I activate Snapjaw here, and his mind's crippled, and I'm like, fine, I'll boost the attack. Bastions don't have good defense. Boost my first initial, miss. Boost my second initial, miss. Buy an attack, boost to hit, do good damage, and then don't kill him, so I can't snack and heal. So my mind is still out. It's bad. It's bad. Both the Bastion Seneschal and Sub-Zero are still alive. I probably should have just activated Kwaak and Gub and healed him first instead of that plan. And now, Kwaak and Gub are going to activate, and they're going to do a Venom into the Bastion Seneschal, and then a Venom into Severius. Thankfully, they kill the Seneschal with a Venom.
Yeah, he was tanking it for a while there.
Oh.
You don't say?
You don't say. I go and do the thing I said. I RFP the leader model for the errants, then heal 3d3 from, I believe the rule is called Death Feast? I think?
It's a sick rule.
And then I give him 3 corpses back. This pot has just made so much corpses all game.
It's been printing money.
It's been printing money. Wrong Eye charges a Judicator because he's a Bamf.
I can confirm. Is Bamf.
And then he does decent damage, actually. He's fairly consistent. He does, like, 3 damage a bunch of times. Which, like, considering it's just a gator with a stick hitting a giant church robot, like, 9 points. Pretty good.
No, I'm not issuing any complaints here.
And then an actual gator goes in. Full-blood gator.
Things.
And does actual gator things, like 2 damage, and then 1 damage. And then, there's the 10 damage.
He got there eventually.
He got there eventually.
That's what matters.
Got there with a Fury to spare. So we've killed an objective, so we're not losing on that. We've contested both zones, so we're not losing on that. And we've gotten fairly aggressive with Barney here. He's up, he's ready to roll, and he's going to face tank some of these exemplars.
Feels pretty strong.
What are you going to do?
Well,
what are you going to do about it?
You've basically secured for yourself an entire flank you didn't have before. And I'm not trying to give you a hard time for that, but that was not my plan. I was not hoping that you would just suddenly have an entire flank that I don't have. So I want to lock up my flank over here, clearing all of the contesting models that could possibly be relevant. Kill as much stuff as you can send in to contest at a later time, including like this pot, for example. And then having done that, I guess I just have to stay positive on attrition and keep my scenario lead going. So in 2 attacks, the Dervish, including one of them being the charge, kills the pot. And then it's in the back arc, because Dervishes have parry, of the Boneswarm, and it's making attacks on the Boneswarm.
Also worth noting, we're both very low on clock at this point.
Yeah, I think we're both... certainly at the end of this turn, I have sub 3 minutes, and I think you may already have sub 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually pretty close to each other, parity-wise, for time, but both starting to go a little quick. So, bucket load of dice, that's the charging sign's importance. Damage roll, over the course of 2 attacks, or sorry, I think it's actually the first attack. I sent 3 in on the Boneswarm, I killed it in 1. Guy who charged Snapjaw. This is just the overtake move. You RFP my leader model, so they don't have cleave anymore, so I can't kill the Misspeaker.
Haha.
But I do a bunch of damage to Snapjaw. Tons of damage to him. I think he's on like half now, something like that. A little less, maybe more like a third. So, High Reclaimer is going to go next. And I would like to feat, bring back some Bastions, use them to walk in and kill Snapjaw and not lose the game. I bring back all of the models I can. Most of the available models to bring back are actually from the Night Unit way over there. Ever reminds me of my placement's a little bit long. I think I'm measuring 12 here. So we scooch in. High Reclaimer's feet is completely within 3 of the unit commander and completely within his control area. So we just scooch him along until that placement's legal, and those 2 Bastions are there. He's here, and a debate. I've got 4 Fury. What do I do with it? I'm just going to put down a little mini Cloud Wall. He still has Burning Ash, and I just don't want to get charged by anything. If Snapjaw somehow stays alive, I I don't want him to be able to throw a crazy nuke at something and just happen to kill me. So just block line of sight. I had to come up to feet, so this is the most aggressive he's going to be. So these are the Bastion attacks. Can't charge again because of Rebuke. They do hit and do some damage.
Sorry, can we go back to that? Hides behind house all game, moves inch out from house, puts 2 clouds in front of himself. Most aggressive he can be all game.
Yeah, that's right. I know not to get killed. The part of the story Evan's not telling you is the week preceding this game, he just assassinated me from literally one game 37 inches downtown. Just surfs around entire building with Makeda 3 and kills High Reclaimer. Every single game. So yeah. It's good times. I'm playing conservatively because I've learned not to play aggressively.
We should play that matchup next week.
You know what? We might just have to. It's a weird matchup. It's like High Reclaimer kills a whole bunch of stuff, and then Makeda just kills High Reclaimer from anywhere.
Makeda's the only model left on the table. Let's do this. Anyways, this game. You kill Snapjaw and Kwaak and Gub.
Yeah, I had an extra Bastion attack. It was under Starcrossed, but he does manage to kill Kwaak and Gub. This means Severius is now free to do whatever he wants. He actually did face tank a Gator. So he moves up to the wall, he finished Kwaak and Gub because the Bastion just did a couple points to him. And then he stuck an Immolate into the Gator and missed him. Needed a boosted 8, rolled boosted 6. Knight unit just advances. A couple of them get into the back arc of Wrong Eye.
Wrong Eye.
And first one misses, second one hits, and is a Weapon Master, and is actually in Severius's range. These guys, they did get charges. Sorry, yeah, this was a charge attack.
Yeah. You kill Wrong Eye until he toughs.
Yep, he toughs. Unfortunately, I don't have any other attacks that I can really get over there, so he's just gonna kind of be fine having toughed. At least I did some damage to him. Yeah, I look for a vector for Gravis to get in there, but it involves taking a Barnabas free strike, which is not going to go over well for me. So he just backs off to the edge of the zone, contests the best he can, and I've got a couple of knights here.
Yeah, so this is my sub 2 minutes turn.
Yep.
I'm just going to kill as many of these knights as possible. Unfortunately, there's basically no way I can kill Gravis, get a bunch of corpses, and then maybe kill Gravis next turn to score if I have the time for it, but probably not. It's looking a little rough. I'm also going to just scoot this Bog Trog into the zone. Basically just the little tippity tip of his base can tow in, and he will die next turn to either the Robot or the unit of knights there. Whichever Tim decides is more important. And then this Gator can't, make it into the square zone, so I'm going to throw him in the circle. Oh, I throw an Influence at a Bastion. It hits. The Bastion does not hit Severius in the back and kill him, unfortunately, as that would be great, but no. Alas. Betrayal, not a thing in my favor. Wrong Eye stands up, turns around, kills 2 dudes. Uses his Spirit Refocus to stand up. Barnabas goes, just kind of skirts around a dude and murders them both, getting 2 corpses. I just camp a bunch and cast Execration. So I've killed a bunch of knights, as I said. RFP'd some. Not that that's relevant anymore, because I Reclaimer's feet's off the table. But yeah, we did a thing, and then it's Tim's turn. I think I have 15 seconds at this point.
Yeah, it might have. Yeah, it's definitely really, really low. We're both at sub 10. Yeah, my goal here is just don't lose the game on clock, and make sure that you can't score the zone again. So guys come in on the Misspeaker. They actually fail to kill the Misspeaker, despite rolling with Hand of Fate and Weapon Master charges and everything. They don't kill him. The other guy does kill the Gator, but he toughs. Dervish activates, boosts it a combo, and with the combo he kills. He sidesteps just back a little bit. Severius activates, he immolates the Gator and boosts damage on the immolate, kills the Gator. He's good. We're scoring the zone. We send some choir members up as chaff, and Bastion's back behind them, and Evan charges Gravis.
Yeah. At this point, I don't have enough time to kill Gravis and score my zone. And even if I did, I'd kill Gravis and score my zone, and then Tim would win on scenario anyway.
Also score my zone, yep.
So that's the game. It's basically a clock/scenario win for MENOTH here.
Yeah. Tight game. Lots of really neat back and forth interactions. I feel like I got to make some sort of pivotal, clever plays that maybe pulled things out for me, but definitely a good game. I think at this point I'm playing for the last couple turns to get to 7 and have that 4-point lead.
Yeah.
Win the game.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Cool. Well, that's us, folks. If you're watching this game on Patreon, we thank you very much for your support. We may be doing a poll with Patreon in the next couple of weeks, asking about specific things folks would like to see, asking for suggestions on lists and that sort of things. So, if you have something specific you want us to be recording, model allowance permitting, should I say? But it may be time to invest some Patreon dollars in acquiring some things that people specifically want to see.
Yeah.
And our time, of course, in painting them.
Yes. Yeah. It will take us perhaps a week or two to actually get those things done. But yeah.
Yeah, that's us. If you're watching this on YouTube, we thanks you again for tuning in, checking us out, and your support.
We thanks you.
Yeah, that's how I talk now. What's your problem? I've gone full Menite. This is my Idrian dialect. Whatever. You're something. Tell your friends we're Arcane Assist. And this has been a weird week a little bit. I think we've definitely been
sloopy
in an interesting mood. But the game is great and the commentary is here. So
it is present.
Yes. Thanks very much, folks. Have a good one.
See you next Monday.